The first thing to vanish was sound. Then came the colors. When the Athena 6 crossed the theoretical threshold of the observable universe, known in whispered academic circles as the Planck boundary, nothing happened at first. No turbulence, no gravitational shift, just a subtle, silent rupture, as if the cosmos itself had blinked and missed them. Captain Elias Navarro, eyes locked on the void ahead, whispered to no one in particular. "We're outside." Dr. Senka Hallberg, xenobiologist and lifelong theorist of non-carbon-based life, stared at the dark expanse through the viewport. No constellations, no cosmic microwave background, not even dark matter traces. This isn't space. It's absence. Everything inside the ship functioned perfectly. Life support, navigation, data streams, but outside there was nothing. Not darkness filled with hidden things, true nothingness. A silence so perfect it bordered on the metaphysical. "This defies physics," muttered Dr. Ilya Chen, theoretical physicist and specialist in extra-universal topology. His fingers moved rapidly across the interface. "We should be registering at least residual quantum noise, gravitational echoes, something." Lieutenant Marie Dantas, head of communication protocols, activated the external transmission array. Routine, even if they expected no reply. Standard beacon initiated. "Clean frequency," but she paused. "It's bouncing back." Everyone turned toward her. "What do you mean bouncing back?" asked the captain sharply. Mari leaned in, increasing audio gain. A whisper emerged, faint, distorted, not in words, but intent, like something trying to mimic the idea of sound, fumbling through forgotten vibration. Then they saw it. Suspended in the infinite black was a structure, metallic, flat, impossibly thin, glinting with a light that came from nowhere. It had no visible propulsion, no orbit. It simply was. The Athena 6 approached, slowly. As they drew near, markings became visible on the surface. Carved deep into the smooth metal were glyphs, letters, numbers, scripts both ancient and unknown. And at the center, in bold relief, a message. Species, Homo sapiens. Observation period, 13.8 billion to 0 years. Status, terminated classification. Sentient curiosity, spectral tier. Access, restricted. Archival in progress. Silence engulfed the command deck. Breath caught in throats. Time stretched thin. "Is this some kind of joke?" said Ilya, his laugh brittle and cracking. "No," whispered Senka. "It's a tag, a label, like the plaques we sent with Voyager. But for us." Elias stood frozen, fists clenched. "How could they have observed us since the Big Bang?" Senka turned toward him, slowly. "Unless they began before it, and what we call the Big Bang was just the lighting of their exhibit." The plaque loomed silent and still, yet it felt as though it was watching them back. Mari's console beeped rapidly. "Captain, it's transmitting data." "On which frequency?" asked Ilya. Marie's voice was low. "All of them, from radio waves to neutrino pulses. But the signal is strange. It's fragments of Earth data, ancient broadcasts, old social media packets, forgotten voice messages from human history." Senka's face went pale. "They're reflecting us, everything we ever were, back at us. Like the exhibition is being dismantled." The ship trembled, not from impact, but from something deeper, the sense of reality contracting, like a dream beginning to wake. "Pull back," ordered Elias. Right now, but it was too late. The stars behind them had vanished. The Athena 6 now floated between two voids, the one they had come to explore and the one they had left behind. Neither welcomed their return. In the center of the bridge, the ship's holographic system activated on its own. A message blinked into existence. "Origin unknown, language universal. Thank you for visiting our exhibit. Your access was unauthorized. Final closure in 00947. The countdown had begun. Time moved, but the universe no longer did. Since the countdown began, nothing external had changed. The Athena 6 drifted silently in the void, systems intact, yet every crew member felt the pressure, like a distant scream trapped beneath the hull, growing louder by not being heard. Captain Elias Navarro stood still in the bridge, watching the countdown tick. 000631. 000630. "Shut it off," he ordered. Lieutenant Mari Dantas responded immediately. "Sir, I've tried. It's not part of our system. It's projecting onto the internal neural grid, through the ship's AI. "What does that even mean?" snapped Dr. Ilya Chen, eyes darting between the display and his trembling hands. "It means it's not a message," said Dr. Senka Hallberg, voice calm but hollow. "It's a sentence." No one replied. Then the sound began. Not noise, but familiarity. The bridge speakers came alive with whispers, rising and falling, overlapping in chaotic harmony, children laughing, radio static, a presidential speech from decades ago, the voice of someone's grandmother, humming a lullaby, a war siren, a deathbed confession, a digital prayer. "What the hell is this?" said Mari, backing away from the console. Ilya looked like he was about to collapse. These are human memories," Senka nodded slowly. "It's broadcasting echoes of our civilization, like replaying our entire history before deletion." A sudden burst of static interrupted the sounds, and a new voice emerged, clear, mechanical, and deeply unsettling. "This exhibit has exceeded its observation period. Emotional resonance confirmed. Sentience quota, 99.999% disposal process, initiated." The lights flickered. The ship's AIORION spoke for the first time in hours. "Captain, external pressure on the hull is now negative. Mass measurements are behaving irrationally." Elias narrowed his eyes. "Irrationally?" "Object mass is decreasing, while volume remains constant. Crew weight is being rewritten." Senka turned to the group. "We're being deconstructed." A heavy silence followed. Mari whispered, "If this was an exhibition, what were they watching for?" No one had the answer. Then, suddenly, an object appeared outside the ship. Not warped in, not approaching. It simply was, where there had been nothing before. A mirror, suspended in space, facing the ship. Its surface shimmered not with reflections, but with memories. Scenes from Earth, cities rising, wars, weddings, street vendors shouting in Sao Paulo, a child in Lagos flying a kite, a woman in Tokyo painting alone, a protest in Paris, a man dying in a hospital bed in New Delhi. All at once, all at now. "They're playing back everything," said Ilya, voice barely audible. "Our entire species." In summary, Senka stepped forward, transfixed. "This isn't destruction, it's closure." The countdown reached 000100. Suddenly, the ship jolted. The stars blinked back into existence behind them, but they were wrong. Galaxies in unfamiliar arrangement, constellations never recorded, a version of the universe where Earth might never have existed. Mari checked the systems, confused. "Captain, we've shifted coordinates, or timelines. I don't know which." Then, the voice returned. "Parallel reality accessed. Rerouting exhibition memory. Final perspective requested." A single question appeared on every screen. "Would you like to witness your final moment?" "Yes." "No." They stared at it. Ilya shouted, "Don't answer that!" But Elias already had. "Yes." The ship's windows darkened. The holograms flickered. Then, Earth, floating in the void, silent, motionless, a museum piece, frozen in a moment of twilight. Then it began to fade. Not explode, not collapse, fade, like a photo left too long in sunlight. Cities evaporated. Forests turned translucent. Oceans flickered and vanished. And then, Earth was gone. No sound, no explanation, just erased. Senka spoke, her voice trembling for the first time. "They didn't destroy us. They just filed us away." A final message blinked on the screen. "Observation complete. Emotional residue archived. Curiosity satisfied. Thank you for existing." The countdown hit 0000. Nothing happened. For a moment, the crew thought it was over, that they had been spared. Then a faint blue light filled the bridge. From the center of the ship, a figure began to form, not made of matter, but of data. A humanoid silhouette, shifting constantly between human forms. A woman, a child, an old man, a soldier, a scientist, and then something else. It opened its eyes and said, in a voice made of all voices, "You were never alone. You were never free. But you were fascinating." The figure of light didn't speak again. It simply pointed. Outside the bridge, the mirror had vanished. In its place was a new object, a structure, black as obsidian, hovering in the void like a monolith. It had no markings, no visible propulsion. Yet the ship's instruments screamed with data, all unreadable, spatial coordinates folding in on themselves, dimensions flickering between integers. Captain Elias Navarro stared at it through the viewport. Set a course, slow approach. Lieutenant Mari Dantas hesitated. "Sir, this place doesn't exist in physical space. It's not there the way we understand it." "It's the only thing left," replied Elias. "Take us in." As the Atenas 6 moved toward the structure, Dr. Ilya Chen muttered, "We're not flying to it. We're being remembered into it." The moment they crossed the threshold, Reality stilled. No motion, no sensation, just sudden placement, as if they'd always been inside. The interior resembled a vast archive, endless corridors, each lined with shimmering crystalline pillars, pulsing faintly. In each crystal, a different world, frozen, fractured, suspended mid-thought. Some were lush, others dead. One showed a planet covered entirely by water, with towers made of bones. Another, a city orbiting its sun like a ring. Then came the voice. "Welcome to the archive. I am the curator. I am the last." Dr. Senka Hallberg stepped forward, her voice shaking with awe and fury. "What are you? A witness? A function? I was designed to observe sentient emergence and log emotional anomalies. Your species produced many. By whom?" asked Ilya, his voice breaking. "Who made you? They are gone." Their curiosity concluded. "I remain as protocol." "You mean to say we were an experiment," said Elias. "An exhibit, one among millions. Some species burned their worlds in rage. Others transcended matter. You clung to contradiction, war and art, logic and myth. You fascinated us." Briefly, Mari whispered, "What happens to us now? Closure, reintegration. The space allocated to your reality is being recompiled for new forms. You may choose erasure or return to illusion." Senka stepped forward. "You mean the simulation? Restart the lie?" "Yes. You may live unaware. Repeat your cycle. Destroy yourselves again, or love again. You will not remember this moment." Elias clenched his fists. "And if we refuse? Then you remain, frozen, archived like the others, but aware." The choice hung in the air like radiation. Ilya sank to his knees. "Why are you giving us a choice at all?" "Emotional closure increases archival purity. The final act of agency generates high-value data." Elias turned to Senka. "What do we do?" She looked around, at the endless crystals, the galaxies reduced to whispers in glass. "I want to remember, even if it hurts." Mari shook her head. "I don't. I want the sky back, my brother's voice, the sea." Ilya laughed bitterly. "We're just rats in a maze. And now they've given us the privilege of choosing which wall to die against." The curator responded, "You may split. One may remain. The others, forget." A moment passed. Elias sighed. "I'll stay. I need to know. I need to watch." Senka turned to him, surprised. "You don't have to." "Yes, I do," said Elias. "We can't all forget. Someone has to remember we were real." Mari nodded slowly. "Then let me forget. Let me dream of home again." The curator lifted one shimmering arm. A doorway of light opened behind them. Through it, the illusion of Earth shimmered. Sunlight, waves, laughter, the smell of jasmine and oil. Senka turned to Elias. "You sure?" He nodded. "Tell the world nothing." She smiled faintly. "I will." And then she and Mari stepped through the light. The doorway closed. Only Elias and Ilya remained. Ilya looked up at the curator, eyes bloodshot. "So what now? Do we just wait? Number you will see." Suddenly the walls of the archive shifted. The crystals began to melt into light, coalescing into a single, vast screen. One final memory. Earth, not as it was, but as it could have been. Cities of harmony, oceans alive, machines that nurtured life, children born into peace, a future never chosen. Elias wept. "Why show me this? To complete the record. Hope was your final anomaly." And then the screen went dark. The archive folded inward, into itself, and Elias Navarro was left standing in silence, in eternity, in memory, alone but remembered. Time lost meaning in the archive. Captain Elias Navarro no longer felt hunger or fatigue or the press of gravity. He sat within the void that used to be a corridor, once lined with the memories of extinct species. Now there was only black glass, silent, waiting, blank. Dr. Ilya Chen hadn't spoken in what Elias estimated were days. He simply stared at a shard of data embedded in the floor, an echo of his daughter's voice from Earth, a memory she never gave him permission to lose. The curator remained nearby, not watching, simply present. "So this is it," said Elias. "The end of humanity reduced to a spreadsheet of emotional anomalies." The curator responded in its ever-shifting tone. "You misunderstand. This is not the end. You are now part of something larger. You are not the last. You are the witness." Elias stood. "What am I meant to witness? The dismantling of our reality? The filing cabinet of lost civilizations? Number, you are here to see what comes after." For the first time, the archive changed. The darkness cracked, not with light, but with presence. Something was approaching. Not a vessel, not a form, not even a consciousness as Elias understood it. It was magnitude. The archive trembled, not physically, but existentially, like a museum about to be visited by the gods who built it. Ilya looked up, hollow-eyed. They're back, aren't they? No, said the curator. Something else. A successor intelligence. One that feeds on legacy. The ceiling dissolved into a window of pure conceptual light. From that light, eyes opened. Not metaphorical, not symbolic. They were eyes of scale and perception beyond comprehension, vast, quiet, dispassionate. They observed not with curiosity, but with audit, and they turned to Elias. He felt his breath vanish. Entity, human. Subclassification, observer. Memory log, active. Request, display last question asked before extinction. The curator complied. A whisper echoed across the chamber. Did we matter? Silence. Then the eyes blinked. Response, inconclusive. Permission granted to observe emergence of next context. Elias blinked in confusion. Next context? A sliver of space tore open before him. Beyond it, a new reality was being born. No stars, no planets, only motion, vibration, possibility folding into new laws of physics. Elias turned to the curator. What is that? A new universe. This archive will be folded into it. Your role is to seed the memory. You are now origin. Elias staggered back. You want me to be the first? Number the last. You are to speak a final word into the birth. It will echo through its evolution. Untraceable, but present. He looked into the breach. It was beautiful. Not in the way Earth had been, but in the way potential is beautiful. Pure, untouched. Waiting. Ilya stepped forward, pale and trembling. Don't do it, Elias. Don't give them anything. Let them make their own meaning. Elias turned. But maybe that's all we ever were. A whisper from something older. Maybe meaning is the one thing worth passing on. The breach pulsed. It was time. The curator asked, final transmission ready. Speak. Elias stood before the void. He thought of Earth, of Senka's voice, of Mari's smile, of his mother's hands, of the sea, of fear, of love. And then he said, remember us. The light swallowed him. Ilya was gone. The archive dissolved. And then silence. For a long time, there was no motion, no sound, no time, only blankness, until a flicker, a vibration, and from it, a shape, small, carbon-based, crawling through mud under twin suns. It blinked at the sky and made a sound it didn't understand, a sound with no origin. But in the language of that future world, it meant only one thing. We were.